Hi, this is Nehal Patel from Rave Gears down in Seguin, Texas. We have started our Smart Factory implementation in 2026, and we're going to be using it in a multitude of areas. We'll be using it for quality, we'll be using it for production planning, and most of all, what we're most excited for is to get the direct hardware integration into our equipment in a multitude of different areas. We'll be using it in ID/OD grinding, bevel gear grinding, parallel axis grinding and cutting, turning, milling. We plan on doing a full out implementation of Smart Factory. Before we had Smart Factory, we had a multitude of different vehicles that we would use to plan the shop and keep track of our progress. Of course, we have an ERP system, but a lot of times what we see with those ERP systems is those systems are a little bit outdated. They're systems that you have to work to manually upkeep. You input a lot of data in there in order to get the information out. The benefit of Smart Factory is, besides just you inputting data, inputting your planning, it is keeping up with the live progress. It's telling you down to the second and minute what is being accomplished on your floor. Before Smart Factory implementation, not only do we have our ERP system, but we had to use a whole bunch of different spreadsheets in a lot of different areas. It's a lot of manual upkeep, tracking of progress, and bouncing back and forth from Excel to Google Sheets to our ERP system to pen and paper. There's a lot of information that gets lost along the way. And not only that, there's a lot of effort that gets put into upkeeping all those different vehicles of planning. Some of the specific pain points that we wanted to solve with Smart Factory was the ability to get real live data from the shop floor. It's easy to take some time, walk away from the office, go over to the lathe and see how many parts were going on. And of course, at the end of the day, you can always get your recap. But that being said, when you have true hardware integrated into the machine, you're able to get that data along the way. So you get a lot more measurables that you can get out of regarding maintenance, regarding downtime, regarding cycles time, speed. Is the operator slowing down the feed rate? Is he having any sort of maintenance issues, tool life issues? Our issue was that most everything was reactive. You do everything, you review the results, you look back and you see how it went. But now what Smart Factory is doing, it's allowing us to be a little bit more proactive and jump on top of things before they even happen. For our Smart Factory implementation, we decided to run a pilot program of 10 different work centers. We're using a couple Klingenberg G60s, which the integration was very simple and straightforward for. We're also using a couple ID/OD grinding machines, so a Studer S151, a Junker ID/OD grinder, and then we're also going to be using a handful of different milling and turning machines as well. So what's neat about the Smart Factory hardware is it's very versatile. It can be implemented in a lot of different areas. And depending on the machine you have, it might be a little bit more steps to get it integrated and get all the hardware connected, but it's very flexible and able to gather a lot of real-time data. I would say as soon as your software is plugged in and you start planning, you get tangible results on day one. There's so many different areas of improvement and so many different categories that Smart Factory touches on, but right away, you see that improvement in terms of monitoring what's going on at the machine. And one of the things we're most excited for is the ability to lay out a plan and then see us achieve that plan minute by minute. But one of my favorite things about working with Klingenberg on the Smart Factory platform is that the Klingenberg team themselves is very flexible, very open to feedback, and they're always looking to improve just as we are in our own business. We've consistently been able to provide feedback, offer suggestions, ask questions, and the team, the development team, the sales team, everybody has been ready to go, ready to jump into the fray and help us solve things along the way. There's been many instances where we asked a question about a specific aspect of the software, or maybe we related to things that real life problems that we have, and the Klingenberg team jumps right on top of it. So I would say there's at least 20 to 30 different use cases that we've put forward to Klingenberg. And within a few months, they've already upgraded their software, added all new features in, and even the software that we started with compared to what we're working with today is miles and miles ahead. Klingenberg team is always looking to make improvements on what they have, And nowadays, with a lot of the ERP systems, planning softwares, things that have been around for a long time, they're kind of locked and set in stone. And that's definitely not the case with what we're working with on Klingenberg. The message I'd like to share with other companies that are considering introducing Smart Factory, if you find yourself struggling with keeping up with shop progress, keeping up with planning, if you find yourself putting a lot of time into manual spreadsheets, and really it's almost like half the battle besides actually cutting the parts is trying to manage and track the flow of things through your shop floor, Klingenberg Smart Factory is for you. If you're looking for a versatile solution that you can use what's there and then adapt it to what your facility is doing, Klingenberg Smart Factory is for you. If you're looking for something that allows you to go back to your office, accomplish the different things that you're trying to do while also monitoring the shop floor, Smart Factory is for you. The great thing about Smart Factory being such a new solution is that there's a lot of different areas where, we may touch on it, but there's room to dive even deeper into it. So in our talks with the Smart Factory development team, there's a lot of work being put into the quality side, into the toolware, inspections, all sorts of different modules that right now are available for use. But there's a lot of plans in the pipeline to continue improving and adding features to it. So our goal is, just like most everybody out there, of course, we want to be paperless. It's a lot easier said than done, but when you have a solution and a development team and a company like Klingenberg that's willing to work with you and take all the steps to get to that point, it makes life a lot easier. Since we've implemented Smart Factory, we've seen a lot of improvements in efficiency and time tracking as well. It helps to have that physical piece of hardware that is truly keeping track of the machine when it's running, when it's down, when it's waiting on maintenance, and having that type of real-time data allows for a lot of improvements in our planning, efficiency, throughput, and then also, most of all, our capacity studies. The thing that made Smart Factory stand out compared to other solutions is the adaptability to how we do business here, along with the development team and the Klingenberg team as a whole being able to work with us to get something that not only addresses a lot of the problems that we see across the industry, but they're specifically fine-tuned to work well here at Rave Gears. Most softwares that are out there, you have to find how they work and you have to adapt what you're doing to them. Luckily for us, working with the development team here, we've been able to provide a lot of instances where we explain how things flow here at Rave Gears, and they either show us how to accomplish that in the software in the easiest manner possible, or they make adjustments along the way to make it flexible and make it more of an open-ended solution that multiple different companies can use. Regardless of how much overlap there is in manufacturing, there's always a little bit of difference from company to company. And luckily for us and any other prospective customers of Smart Factory, there's a lot of adaptability. There's a big chance that you can take this software and change it over to what you have going on in your facility. We've had an outstanding relationship with Klingenberg over the years. We've worked with them on hardware, software, gear design, gear grinding, all sorts of different aspects that help us become who we are today. Luckily for us, with that existing relationship with Klingenberg, we knew when they had pitched this software originally that we had a great chance to improve upon what we were doing, while also using a good, reputable company that is willing to work with you and support you when you need it. The fun thing about implementing Smart Factory is not only did it expose where some of our weaknesses were on capacity planning, scheduling, time tracking, but it also gave us a lot more information in terms of different tools we can use to better prepare ourselves and better plan out our shop. The fun thing about this is along the way, we've been able to learn a lot more about how other places and how the industry handles these type of large situations where you have a big backlog, you're looking for labor, you're trying to plan, you're working overtime, different things like that. And this software gives us the ability to try out different methods to get to the finish line. My recommendations for anybody who would be implementing Smart Factory early on would be, number one, to be open-minded. the development team is very clear cut in terms of what the software has, how they can accomplish certain things. And then, in many cases, what we've seen is that the way we were doing things might not necessarily be the best way. So us being adaptable, Klingenberg being adaptable, it helps both of us get to the finish line sooner. Other things that I would recommend to have early success is making sure that your team is on board with what you have. At the end of the day, when management issues a directive, of course, all the other layers of the company need to follow along with that. But when you can convince the team members to your left and right, up and down, that this is a valuable software, that it will help us perform, it will make us earn more money, get more parts out the door, then it becomes a lot easier to implement. If the software is posed to the staff and the machinist as something that's watching you and timing every second, every move you do, then it becomes a little bit more difficult to get that buy-in. So I think the most important thing is making sure that people understand the mission you're trying to accomplish, current day weaknesses and things that might not be as ideal without a software like Smart Factory. And then, of course, over time, showing people where the benefit comes from that. Some of the challenges that we're still facing with Smart Factory would be on the planning and scheduling side. There is so many different factors that go into scheduling a shop: labor, overtime, machine centers, backlog, DO ratings, priorities, revenue, of course. And I think what we're seeing along the way is that there's no one simple, clean answer on how to make a plan, how to make a schedule, and how to eliminate a backlog. Along the way, every time we do have a constraint or we have a suggestion or improvement, Klingenberg has been able to step up and work that into the solution. With Smart Factory being a new software that's starting to be implemented, I think there is some room for improvement on both the inspection modules along with the previously mentioned planning modules. The inspection modules in particular are more of a high-end, high-level sort of checkbox numbers here and there. But over time, what I want to do is dive a little bit deeper into how we handle quality, what AS9100 is asking out of us, what our different OEM customers are asking out of us, and finding a way to adapt that into that HMI panel that's at the workstation. The more that we're able to consolidate all these different efforts that we're doing, the quicker it is to get a job out on the floor, the easier it is to inspect parts, report results, and then of course when it comes time for shipping, you have all that real-time data available to you rather than the old school manner of compiling and putting together a certification package. Summarizing Smart Factory in one sentence: if you're looking for a solution that can take your currently existing business, take your current operation, and kick it up to the next level in terms of efficiency, capacity planning, scheduling, data capture, inspection, all sorts of different things, Smart Factory is the one for you. The most surprising benefit that we've gotten so far from Smart Factory isn't necessarily the real-time planning, dealing with the current backlog, capturing data, but what's been most surprising to me is how this tool can be used to project forward and aid your business in planning for the future. Smart Factory has implemented a whole entire simulation module for us and other customers, and I think it's a very powerful tool that I don't see in a lot of other ERP systems. We've used different ERP systems, we've done demos with a bunch of different customers. Very few of them have the ability to project forward into the future like Smart Factory is doing with the simulation seat. So as it is today, we have the ability to run a bunch of different scenarios and see what the impact to our shop will be. Different examples include customers issuing a major RFQ, major PO, high volume orders, work centers being down, change in labor, overtime shifts. Pretty much any scenario you can think of that would significantly alter how much money you will make or how much production you'll be able to run, you're able to run those scenarios in. If I think 5-6 years back when we were really ramping our business up, a lot of these tools would have been beneficial to us to be able to plan better for the future and sort of analyze what kind of labor needs we'll need. What is the impact of me taking on 500 pieces of part number X starting next year? There's parts that we don't even have an order yet. There's parts that we just got a PO for yesterday. We might not get material until next year. And using Smart Factory, we have the ability to go and see when that will run through our shop. not just start and finish, but every single step along the way, water flow chart. And then we can actually project forward and really analyze our business a lot better. And it's been a very surprising benefit for us.